Hemming a pair of pants is simple to do, and it gives you more choices when clothes shopping because you can buy a too long pair of pants and hem them to fit. You'll also save money by avoiding a tailor. In this video, you'll learn 3 different methods to hem a tailored pant, such as a pair of suit pants or khakis. Jeans use a different method that retains the original hem with all its character and texture. That's the subject for a different video. If the pants are brand new, run them through the laundry to get out any shrinkage. If you are lengthening the hem, undo the original hem with a seam ripper so you have enough fabric to work with. If you are shortening, leave the original hem in place for now. Temporarily pin the new hem, then try it on. Wear a pair of shoes you'll typically wear the pants with so you can properly judge the length. Most people's legs are slightly different, so find the length that looks right for each leg. Mark the fold line of your new hem. Get a long needle and contrasting color thread and hand baste a line right on the fold. If you are shortening the hem, now is the time to undo the original hem with the seam ripper. This makes certain that when you cut away the excess, the original hem is not in the way. Take a ruler and tailor's chalk and mark a line that aligns with the basting and is perpendicular to the side seam. Leave the basting in place. The basting thread is visible inside and out and avoids confusion. This line is the fold line of your new hem. Try to allow for at least an inch of hem allowance to be turned upwards from the fold line. If it's for someone still growing, you might want to keep more hem allowance so you can lengthen it in the future. You must finish the raw hem edge to prevent fraying. Add about 1/2 inch to the hem allowance to allow for finishing. Using the ruler and chalk, measure down this distance from the hem fold line and draw another line. This is your cut line. Cut off the excess fabric at the cut line. You can't undo this, so carefully check your measurements before you cut. If you have a serger, it is the simplest way to finish the raw edge. Use a 3-thread overlock stitch, the left-hand needle, a medium stitch length of about 2.5, and trim with the cutter blade on. On a conventional sewing machine, you have 2 choices depending on the heaviness of your fabric. If the fabric is somewhat heavyweight, finish the edge with a zigzag stitch or an overcasting stitch if your machine has it. Use a wide stitch width around 5 and a medium stitch length around 3. If you have an overcast foot, use it. It stitches right along the raw edge without crumpling the fabric. For lighter weight fabrics, you can turn in the raw edge of the hem allowance 1/2 inch towards the wrong side. Measure carefully and consistently with a seam gauge and pin all around. As you turn in the raw edge, take care that the seam allowances inside the fold all point in the same direction as the original leg seam. Press to flatten the turn-in edge. Then tack it down with a line of edge stitching all around the fold. Turn the pant legs inside out so you can work with the hem allowance. Then fold the hem allowance up towards the inside of the pant. Adjust the hem so that it lies flat, especially when viewed from outside. Then, pin the hem allowance in place temporarily. Again, take extra care that the side seam allowances don't bunch up inside the hem and that they fall in the same direction as the leg seam. Near the edge of the hem allowance, hand baste around the hem to fix everything in place. Remove pins as you go and arrange the hem exactly how you want it to look as you baste. To baste quicker, insert the needle, run several stitches onto the needle at once, then pull the needle. You can buy special extra long basting needles to make this task easier. To finish the hem, you have 3 options. We'll cover each one in turn. The first is to top stitch on the sewing machine. This is the quickest and easiest method, but the stitching is visible from the outside. The second option is a blind hem stitch on the sewing machine. This requires a bit more care, but offers a cleaner looking finish when viewed from the outside. Finally, you can hand stitch the hem. This is more effort than a machine-made hem, but it offers the cleanest and most professional looking result. Learn the basics of sewing in my 2-part Sewing Bootcamp ebook series with step-by-step descriptions and photos. Master your sewing machine, understand patterns, and select the right fabrics. The link is in the description. And please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Let's look at the machine top-stitched hem first. If your machine has a free arm, remove it to make stitching in the round easier. Select a straight stitch and choose a needle, thread, and stitch length appropriate to your fabric, about 2.8 for most hems. Test the stitch on a scrap you cut from the hem. Top stitch with a seam allowance about 1/8 inch shorter than the hem allowance to make sure the stitching catches the hem allowance all around. You can attach a piece of tape or a sticky notepad to the needle plate to help you stitch consistently. Turn the pants right side out. Position the hem under the presser foot with the inside of the hem facing the feed dogs. The feed dogs will securely grab and feed the inside hem allowance, avoiding shifting. Start stitching. Leave a starting thread tail and do not backstitch. If your machine has a lock stitch feature, you can do 2 or 3 lock stitches instead of backstitching. Stitch all the way around the hem. If the side seam allowances are bulky, stop and use the hand wheel to manually stitch over them. You'll avoid a misfeed or a machine jam. At bulky seams, you can also use the lock button of your presser foot. Just as the bulk reaches the needle, stop, raise the presser foot, press the button, then lower the foot on the bulky seam while holding the button down. The foot locks at the height of the bulk and automatically releases afterwards. Just before you reach the starting point, stop. Advance 1 stitch at a time or turn the hand wheel to end right at the starting point. You can sew 2 or 3 lock stitches if your machine has the feature. Remove the hem from the machine, leaving an ending thread tail. Draw all threads to the inside, then tie off and trim. Remove the basting stitches and give the hem a final press. To make the machine blind hem, your machine should offer a blind hem stitch. Check your owner's guide. You will also need a blind hemmer foot. It usually comes with the machine, but you can purchase a blind hemmer foot separately. I have some links in the description. Install the blind hem foot and choose the blind hem stitch setting. Some machines may offer variations of the blind hem stitch. Choose the one appropriate for woven fabrics and set the stitch length to about 2 or 2.5. Fold the hem allowance inwards, right on the basting line, and pin. Then fold the hem back towards the right side of the pant, allowing about 1/4 inch of the inside hem allowance to stick out. Viewed as a cross section, the fold should resemble the letter Z. Pin this inner fold. then remove the outer pins. Press a crease in this fold with your fingers to make it more crisp and easy to guide when stitching. You can use an iron, but a finger crease is much less likely to leave a permanent line. Adjust the blind hem foot with a test stitch. Use a sample made with the scrap fabric you trimmed from the hem, fold it the same way as the actual hem. Place the scrap hem sample in the machine, wrong side facing upwards, with the folded edge of the Z against the guide bar on the blind hem foot. The blind hem foot usually has a small adjustment wheel. Every few stitches, the needle catches the fold with a stitch to the left. Adjust the wheel so that the needle just barely catches the fold on that leftmost stitch. This adjustment is crucial, so take your time and check the result. If your blind hem foot does not have an adjustment wheel, then adjust the needle position, left or right, until the needle just catches the fold at each leftmost stitch. As you adjust, be careful that the needle does not strike the presser foot. You can use the hand wheel if necessary to check. Once your test stitch is successful, place the pant hem in the machine, fold facing upwards, and right side of the pant facing the feed dogs. Again, make sure the fold lines up against the guide bar on the presser foot. Begin stitching. Leave a starting thread tail and do not backstitch. The needle will stitch primarily on the hem allowance. Concentrate on keeping the fold aligned right against the guide bar as best you can for an even stitch. As you stitch, take care that seam allowances don't catch on the guide bar. At the end of the stitch, meet up at the starting point. Do not backstitch. Remove the hem from the machine, leaving an ending thread tail. Bring all threads to the inside with a needle, then tie off the threads and trim. Remove the basting stitches. Fold the hem flat as if ready to be worn and press to remove the hand creases as well as set the hem fold. When it is done carefully, the machine blind hem is nearly invisible from the outside. To make it even more invisible, you can use a very fine needle and thread, and you can slightly loosen the thread tension. The hand catch stitch is used extensively in tailoring and couture sewing. It has some give, which makes it ideal for hems and stretch fabrics. If you need help getting started with hand stitching, I have a video on that topic. The link is in the description. Use a small, thin needle. A smaller needle gives you more control and can delicately pass through fabric with greater precision. A good starting point is a sharp, size 7 to 9, but choose what works best for you. Stitch from left to right. If you are left-handed, reverse this process. Start in the hem allowance. Take a bite of fabric about 1/8 of an inch. Draw the needle through and pull until it stops at the knot. I like to take a back stitch here to be sure it's secure. Advance about 1/4 inch to the right, or 3/8 of an inch if your fabric is heavy. On the inside leg, grab just a thread or two of the fabric with the needle. The stitch should not be visible from the outside. Pull the stitch through. Then cross over, advance another 1/4 or 3/8 inch to the right, and return to the hem allowance. Pull the thread taut, but not too tightly. The stitch must have some give. If you pull it too tight, it will cause puckers. Take another 1/8 inch bite in the hem allowance and repeat the procedure along the hem. The stitch will form a line of X's. When you reach the end of your thread, end the stitch in the hem allowance. First, make a back stitch. Before you pull the loop tight, make a knot by running the needle through the loop. Then pull it tight. You can bury the ending thread tail inside the hem allowance. Run the needle into and out of the hem allowance and trim it short. Rethread the needle and start again where you left off in the hem allowance. At the side seams, you can catch in the seam allowances using a bigger 1/8 inch bite of the fabric, just as you do in the hem allowances, as the seam allowances will not show on the outside of the pant. Once you have reached the starting point, end the stitch, then remove the hand basting. Then give the hem a press to set the fold. The pants are ready to wear. For more videos like this one, like and subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated.